Yesterday, for our art assignment, you looked at a bunch of pictures and tried to decide if you thought they were art or if they were not art. I played a little trick on you because actually they were all art and they were all made by artists. I wanted to see what you thought art was and what it wasn't, but in reality, art can be almost anything. As long as an artist is making something with their hands or with anything, they are making something for other people to look at, it's a work of art. And that's all you really need it to be. I'm going to go through a few different ways that the artist created art in our work from yesterday. And then tomorrow I'll get to see you live and we can talk about what our project is going to be. So one way of making art that we all know is drawing. That's when you take pencils, crayons, markers, anything that isn't paint, and put them onto a surface. A drawing is still a work of art if it's not colorful like what you see on the left, but it's also a work of art if it's colorful. With or without color, the artist has still taken a drawing utensil and put it down on top of a surface. That is what creates a drawing. Another way to make art that we all know is painting. It's when you use paint and put it onto a surface. There's watercolors, tempera paints, there's lots of different types of paint, but they can all create something like these two paintings that were in our activity yesterday. So on the left is a painting that's a little bit messy and it's colorful, but it's still a painting and a work of art because an artist created it. And the one on the right is darker, but it's just a darker paint that it has more liquid to it, so it looks like it's kind of raining or running down the picture. Both are still works of art. Another way of creating art is called sculpture. That's when you create something that's 3D, meaning you can look at it from multiple sides. These two pictures that were in our activity yesterday are both sculptures. They are made out of different materials, but they are both made by carving or molding or creating something that is the shape that you see in front of you. Artists can make sculptures out of almost any material that they can find. A type of art that you might not know is called textile arts. That's when an artist uses things like yarn or fabric to create their artwork. Both of these images that we saw yesterday have some textile arts in them. The picture on the left is a photograph that the artist took some string and embroidered or sewed the patterns on top of. So she created a work of art with string on top of a photograph. And the other picture that's moving, it is created by an artist who created a whole costume of that colorful material, and then he decided to also film it moving around so you could see the way that the costume moves. Another way that sometimes artists create art is by creating an installation. That's when they place lots of little things, sometimes into a space, or they place one big thing into a room. It's meant to be inside of a space, not just on a wall. So these two artists both created installations. The one on the left in the tree are lots of pieces of paper that have different wishes on them hung from a tree. So that had to be placed there, which makes it a work of art. The one on the right, that's a house that's really colorful, was created by an artist to be put into a museum so that you could walk into it and experience all of these really cool colors and different things. That is an installation, and they are both works of art. This last one that we're going to talk about is called typography. It's when artists use text or words in their artwork. A lot of you thought that art couldn't have words in it, but really it can. And the artist can change the way that the font looks, the color of the text to make it work with their piece of art. Both of these artworks are examples of how you can include typography or words into an artwork. So on the one on the left, the words Black Lives Matter were painted onto a street. That's still a work of art, even though it's in our real world and we can walk over it. It's still a work of art because an artist had to create it and put it there. On the right, there's another example of an artist using words. He painted the words, "I am a man," onto these pieces of paper. They're words, but they're still a work of art because they were created by an artist to be looked at. And we're going to talk a lot more about these paintings tomorrow, as well as how we can use words in our art. See you then!